Hello, welcome back to Universal Love Law. Today I wanted to make a short video just basically about the choices that people are making when they confide in other people. Okay, so like when a person is on their journey, their path of discovering sacred knowledge, and they're a knowledge seeker, so they have questions like, how is the world created, what is God, angels, light, dark, good, bad, what are universal laws, what is numerology, what is astrology, what is metaphysical science, how does science correlate to spirituality, how does the universe break down into mathematics, how are we beings created from the same materials on the periodic table, how does science and math all equate to the same spirituality, how are different divination systems like hoodoo and all of these different forms of spirituality correlate to good or bad, all of these questions, right? There's so many different um, spirituality systems that people go into, whether it be religious, whether it be just spirituality, where the spiritual teachings are based on word of mouth, oral teachings, not written or not. It's so many forms of spirituality that people go into because they're finding their way. Their way is their way, and that is absolutely fine. This is why my channel is unbiased to wherever a person is on their path, because I'm not here to tell a person that what they believe in is not true, because that would be wrong. I have no jurisdiction. This is why my channel is universal love and law, because there are laws. There are things that we just should not do, because when we do, we put ourselves in a karmic loop to experience that. Like when we put another person's blood on our hands by misleading them, now there is something within our spirit subconsciously that needs to evolve or have a higher knowledge of that. This is why you see older people very wise. They're not, well, maybe a lack of energy, but also they don't do much interacting with the world because they're wise. They learn many lessons. They understand what happens when we're intertwined and, mingling with people. What happens with the give and take of energy. What happens when we give ourselves. There's a whole process in that. And so basically, I wanted to make a message for all people on their spiritual path, wherever it is. Some people are into actual like orishas, learning about wanting to get their hand in ceremony, and they want to learn about astrology or tarot card reading. Different divination systems, different forms of spirituality, all with the purpose of finding what is within. People are curious about their life. People are curious about their life. People have curiosities. People want to know. People want to learn. There are people that are just very curious about life. And that is not wrong. Once we take out the spookism, or, whether, some people are into darker forms of, spirituality, where they're working with darker energies, or some spiritual practices like Santeria, where there's sacrifices and things of animals. And there's so many different, forms of worship, spiritual knowledge, knowledge of self, all of these things. They go back in history. They correlate to math. They correlate to science. They correlate to the spirit, right? Emotions, all of these things. Psychology, right? So I said a lot, but to break it all down, my message for people is, don't go to a person who restores old shoes, right? They, these people who create really cool shoes, and they like, the shoe was old and then they refurbish it, like they put tape on it and they paint it, put like some cartoon characters, or they just make some really cool retro shoes out of some really janky old shoes, and they're restored, right? So you wouldn't go to a person that is their profession, or that's the work that they do. You wouldn't go to them about your car because they work with their hands, right? Just because they work with their hands, you wouldn't go asking them, so what tool do I need to take off of the coolant system because I have a leak in my coolant? You don't do that. You wouldn't do that. You would go to a person that is an expert in that area. And I only say this because earlier today I was watching a young man who is into, he was exposed to a darker side of things in the music industry. And so he's sharing his story to awaken people, enlighten people about the sorcery that goes on in the music industry and things of that nature. So, and he's doing it from a point of reference of experience, like he actually was there. And so I appreciate the messages that he brings forth. He clearly states that he is not here to tell a person where they should be spiritually, but he is here as a person who can help another on their journey with, becoming more spiritual, like in a sense that of understanding that spirituality is in everything, even in the music industry. There's forms of light and dark, and there's worship and witch rituals and all type of things that are going on in every aspect of life. And so that's good. Like, I appreciate that. Really, I can see a person's gift that has been developed through the experiences of life. I can see a person's gift that has been established maybe from on a soul level. Like, these are very wise souls that have had multiple experiences. I can see something for what it's worth because I am fire. I am the seer. I am Sagittarius. I see the big picture of things. And I think it's just me, and I'm very in tune with my intuition, right? And I know when something is serving its purpose for the greater good. It was a young guy who basically went on his live and was asking him, the young guy was asking the guy that I was telling you about, who's exposing things that he experienced to warn others, or it's taken to however whatever a person is into, but to enlighten people about that. And the young man got on his life and was asking him about, he started to bring up numerology. And so then the other guy was like, you know what, my channel, we don't do that. And, that's Illuminati and all of that, because numerology deals with duality, some numbers 1, 1, and 2, 2. He was talking about that's duality, and that's all Illuminati. And when I heard that, I was like, I'm kind of like a jack of all trades. I can listen to multiple different people, and I'm into a lot of stuff. So when I heard that on the level of spirituality I am mentally, and knowing that, this young man is being misled, because he was basically telling him, like, you are a child of God, black people, we're a child of God. But, when it comes to your spirituality, once you start getting into numerology and things of that, that is like dark work. That is like work of Illuminati and things of that nature. And it went on to my whole, realization that people just they fear what they don't understand. And so, of course, there's going to be some fear or spookism on spirituality, but you got to understand that knowledge is sacred for a purpose, for a reason. Some people, knowledge is sacred for a reason. Like, we're not gonna, like, this is why you have to seek it, because it's sacred. True knowledge is not gonna just be out there for anyone to just see, because it's not easily understood. It might be right in your face and you might not understand it. You might see sacred geometry and not understand the energy signature behind it. And so that's why I'm like, some knowledge is sacred, and some people can teach certain knowledges because they seek that knowledge. And so he had no jurisdiction in telling that young man that he was going into a path of Illuminati, because he was misguiding him now. And now the guy has to transform and like break down what that man told him, because he's confiding in the wrong person for the wrong information. Like, you don't go to a car salesman to help you fix the plumbing in your house. It just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And just because a person, may work with their hands doesn't mean that they can do the same job. Just because the guy was on there talking about spirituality in the form of his experiences that he experienced based on being exposed to the music industry and all of those things, and he's talking about spirituality and light and dark, angelic and demonic forces, things like that. He wasn't even really talking about that. It's just that is what people assume based on what they know. So they start attaching certain things. Like, listen, this is my message. People need to listen to a person based on what they're communicating and take that with a grain of salt. You're supposed to always have build your own basis of a belief system, because there's some astrologers out there that I do not wouldn't go to, because I don't feel like they are certified for me enough. I don't feel like they have what I need to unlock those parts of my mind, or you know what I mean? It's like, you don't go to a person about something that is within you, your inner sacred temple. You don't go traveling to find, whether it be social media, whether it be going to search and find. What you seek is seeking you. What you desire to learn and know and grow and understand and process is seeking you too. So it should be no going to find someone, or you heard them talk a little bit about this, so now you're going to confide your sacred temple. You're going to confide your sacred mind, beliefs into a person that isn't even talking about the same thing as you. He was basically talking about the year he was born. He was breaking down the numbers, and he was trying to figure out the synchronicities in his life. Now, if he would have went to the right teacher, he would have been on the right path. But he went to the right teacher with the wrong questions. It's just, that's a good teacher for what he is here to teach. You know what I mean? And I say that a teacher that is, a student as well, like, we always learning and teaching at the same time. Even if you're pride yourself on being a student, in some level of reality you are learning. You're teaching as well. But so this guy, he's really good for what he does, and that's great, but he's nobody to go confide in certain aspects of your spirituality. That is sacred. People must understand that in a spiritual world, both are held accountable for that wrongdoing. The young man who was confiding in the man, now he's got to go through all these transformations to rebel against his idol, because clearly you're idolizing someone who has no jurisdiction to talk about or to tell you what path you're on, if it's right or wrong. You're confiding in the wrong person when you should be confiding in yourself, in your inner compass, in your inner guidance system that is your gut feelings, your intuition, right? And so sometimes People can be highly educated in some things but lack other forms of conscious awareness, and they write it off based on fear. You see, they get fearful and they're like, you know what, I don't understand this, so I'm not gonna you know, talk about it. And they should say that. Just give that disclaimer. Like, I don't know about that, so I'm not going to tell you about something that I don't know. If I knew, then I would, you know, agree with you or disagree or guide you or lead you or facilitate something. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that's wrong because I don't understand or I don't know. You lack consciousness, you lack awareness of it, so be honest. And the young man, he needs to learn how to grow some type of integrity spiritually, like where there's boundaries formed. He should not go to anyone about the things that he's seeking because they will not be able to help him. Okay? And so, yeah, I just wanted to just state that for the record. You know, a lot of people do things out of fear. A lot of people lack understanding. A lot of people need to just be honest. Honesty, integrity, these are all like morals that are foundations that make a person whole, that make a person wise, right? So yeah, I hope you guys have taken out of this to, you know, be mindful with who you go to about for questions that you're seeking on a spiritual level, because your spirituality is your belief system and it's what's guiding you, and it's going to always guide you into a new reality, a new experience. So you be mindful of your responsibility as a student, you know, but we learn this way, so it's a good thing too. I think that this was a learning opportunity for a lot of people. I'm still going to listen to the videos of that young man who had those experiences because I appreciate his experiences for what they're worth. But anything that goes against my beliefs, I'm not going to just downright just shut him off or say, he don't know what he's talking about. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to know that, but I'm not going to just act on it. I'm just going to be aware that he's not mindful. He doesn't have a conscious awareness of this. You see? So yeah, and a lot of people must learn that. But yeah, I hope this video will help you on your journey to be very mindful and to have that inner compass alive. Knowing who you're going to and who you're confiding in is very important on this journey. Thank you so much for tuning into Universal Love, Law, and